How's it everyone, this is Lolcohol, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing my top 5 league starters for 3.21 Crucible League. These are all going to be very good builds, well tested, so if you're still on the lookout for a build then check this list, maybe there's something in here that you're going to like. First up on the list is going to be the best overall build that I've seen, and that's going to be Subtractem's Fire Trap Frostblink Elementalist. This is probably one of the most thorough build guides of the league. It's a new twist on a tried and tested classic archetype, and the build features great clear, very solid single target, smooth gameplay, and good defenses. This build will get you through all of the endgame on little more than just a couple of divines. Also, this build contains tons of details. Subtractem's guide alone is an hour long. There's also videos of the full leveling process. There's a leveling document. This is straight up the most hand-holding, beginner-friendly, top-tier league starter. It's also SSF viable, it's HC viable, and it can scale to allow you to even do Ubers. If I weren't league starting with my Ice Trap Occultist, then 100% this is what I would be playing this league. Next up, I'm going to actually bundle in 3 builds on this one. These are going to be the old and gold builds. These are 3 classic builds. They've been tested to death. There's tons of resources. You're absolutely guaranteed to have a good time on all of these builds. These have all also been updated for 3.21. I'm going to go through these quickly. First off, we have Palsteron's EA Ballista Elementalist. You run around, you drop ballistas, everything dies. This is one of those builds that if you watch the gameplay for it, it looks like it's a bit janky, but once you actually get into game and play it, it feels a lot better than it looks. I'm just saying that from personal experience. When I first saw this, I thought, this looks horrible to play, but then I played it, it was actually great. You get to drop your ballistas, they do all the killing, you do all the looting, and it's a great all-rounder build. Next up is going to be Pohx's RF Juggernaut, another absolute classic build. Super tanky, very little clicking, you just move around, enemies catch fire, they die, and this is also an excellent option if you have hand issues. I was really struggling with some RSI during Calandra League. I played this and I was able to play it fairly comfortably. Next up is Zizaran's Toxic Rain Pathfinder. If you haven't ever played Toxic Rain by now, I don't know what you're doing. It's just a great build. This is probably one of the few bow builds that's going to be very viable as a league start. This build also has tons of resources, also can scale all the way up to doing Ubers. So if you want a league start a bow build, then go for this one. In the best melee category, we have Carn's Boneshatter Slayer. Unfortunately, nowadays there's not much space in Path of Exile for melee, but with this build you can't go wrong. I don't think Carn has actually been allowed to play any other builds. He's got a contractual obligation with GGG to play this until 2028, so he knows the build as well as anyone could. This build, it features a thorough POB, it shows you which points to take when. Also, his video is very direct and honest, there's no nonsense in it. He describes some of the potential issues that you can face and then how you can tackle them. He also describes in detail how to play the build, which is something that a lot of builds overlook. So if you have a true hankering for some legitimate melee run around bonking stuff, then this is one of the few choices that I can, in good conscience, recommend. Next up is going to be the best RSI friendly build, also best summoner build, and that's going to be Ghazzy's Zoomancer. This build uses all the minions. It's very tanky, it's a well-rounded, lazy beast. This will get you through maps, kill all pinnacle bosses without breaking a sweat. Although the budget version doesn't have insane clear or insane boss DPS, it will do everything you need it to very comfortably. Later on, with more investment, the build can start doing some serious damage and become ridiculously tanky. So if you're old and you have mangled hands from playing ARPGs for the last 30 years and you want to relive the good old days of the D2 Necromancer, then this build is it. And in last place, we have my own build, the best self-promotional league start guide, and that's going to be my Ice Trap Occultist. This is a very good all-rounder build. This is what I'm going to be league starting. If you want to change it to be more of a mapper or more of a bosser or more of an invitation farmer, you can change just a couple of pieces of gear around. change a few points, and then it can become something more that you want it to be. So depending on your taste or playstyle, this is a very malleable build that you can do whatever you want with. I also have a guide for this. It'll be linked in the description, along with all of the other builds in this video. So be sure to check out the description. I'm not going to be linking any POBs. If you want to play any of the builds you've seen in this video, you'll need to check the description, watch that creator's video, and get the path of building from there. So let me know in the comments, what are you going to be league starting next league? Did any of these tickle your fancy? Are you going to be league starting something tried and tested? You're going to try something a bit more exciting and risky? Have a wonderful day, everyone. Stay safe, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Ranching exile, you're making me nervous.